I'm not gonna lie, I'm excited about today's show. We're gonna explore some of the finer things in life, and whether or not your passion is cars, golf, or just a sense of adventure, it's hard not to feel something about today's show. Rolls Royce, the legendary brand, we know where they've been. Today we're seeing where they're going. A lot of controversy about the new Phantom. Personally, I can't wait to see the design and quality of it. Then we're gonna journey to the ocean floor in our own private submarine. Today on iDesign, the good life.
Open your eye.
iDesign, revealing the style and performance and magic of world-class product design. How great design helps you work smart, play hard, and live well. Join Eric Valenci, design expert and president of Maurice Valenci Furniture, as he takes us through the world of superior design, the world of iDesign.
The rebirth of Rolls Royce has finally arrived. With over 100 years of history, the brand is stronger than ever. I met up with designer Marek Georgievic in the Beverly Hills showroom. He took on the challenge of designing the first new Rolls Royce Phantom of the 21st century.
There were many challenges involved with design of a project of such magnitude as this. This would be the first Rolls Royce for the 21st century.
Okay, so it took you 4 years on this project. We're standing here in front of it. How does it feel?
Absolutely incredible. I think that coming upon a project like this, especially at a young age, it comes with a tremendous sense of honor and a fantastic challenge that would humble even the most confident of designers.
Rolls Royce.
I was born and raised in Belgrade, former Yugoslavia, now Serbia. I was just 30 years of age when we started working on the project. And one of the first things that were absolutely clear from the onset was that it was incredibly important to get immersed into what the customer is like, what the lifestyle is like. Besides seeing the many examples of Rolls Royces on the streets of London, it is also a city of very vibrant culture, from architecture to music particularly, that in my work directly reflects into the designs that are produced. Rolls-Royce, of course, has a tremendous history related to its engines. In fact, around the 30s, held world speed records simultaneously on land, air, and sea.
Marek's template for the new designs looked to Phantom 2s from the past.
The opportunity that came was the challenge to look through the entire body of heritage of Rolls-Royce in order to seek the cues and the messages that describe the values of a marque as strong and famous as a Rolls-Royce. And it was actually the cars of the 1930s, the Phantom 2s, that proved to be some of the most inspiring. Not only because they were the last cars developed under the guidance of Sir Henry Royce, but also because they really were the cars that established the marque in its halcyon days and made it famous for decades to come. It is absolutely important that a profile of a Rolls-Royce is instantly recognizable so that you can have a first impression that clearly says, this is the finest motor car in the world. There is a high front end and all the surfaces and lines gently descend towards the rear. So you have that sense of gliding forward and upwards. You can see that the car has a very long wheelbase. The cabin is situated quite far back, which accentuates the length of the bonnet, which is again in turn accentuated by that line that runs all the way from the grille to the back of the cabin. That line in one particular view helps enhance the length and the elegance of the car in that sense. The seating position is actually somewhere between where a regular sedan, luxury sedan is, such as, let's say, a BMW 7 Series, and a Range Rover. So this position allows you a much better visibility, so the car is actually far easier to drive than perceived from the outside.
The car's raised seating platform and bold lines allowed Marek to put his mark on the look of the rear doors. Tell me about the doors and what's so special about them.
Well, you see here a very unusual configurations. We haven't seen two door handles for the front and rear doors next to each other in over 30 years. We call them coach doors, and they're really provided for the ease of entry and exit out of the car.
So I would enter this way instead of
correct
rear.
Back first, yes. I was keen to have you be seated comfortably in the back of the car and at all times be able to see the flying lady at the prow of the car. One of the most prominent features or icons of Rolls Royce design is, of course, the Pantheon grille. It is rather vertical in its form and very architectural. You will see quite a lot of vertical feeling in the design language of the grille, which made it for a wonderful element of statesmanship and formality.
So tell me about the flying lady.
Well, details are, of course, very much important for a Rolls Royce, and one of the perfect illustrations of a sensitive detail is the fact that the flying lady, or the spirit of ecstasy as we call her, is actually electronically retractable in case you choose to have her out of view.
That's amazing. Along with the iconic features, like the Pantheon grille and the Spirit of Ecstasy, the new Phantom has a few surprises.
In the previous cars, we had umbrellas in the back.
So you get wet if you went to get it.
By the time you get there, you're soaked already. So we've thought of putting it in a better location, into the door itself.
And so even if I'm in the front seat, I can just reach in and grab it? Is that how it works?
Even when this door is shut, you can still get to the umbrella.
After talking about it all day, I was ready to take the Phantom out for a spin. I mean, the only way to really appreciate a Rolls Royce is to get behind the wheel. Well, thank you for trusting me. Ready to go?
By all means, please enjoy.
Let's go. Tell us about the first time you drove this car after you made it.
Well, there are several stages throughout the design process of a production car at which you get different levels of satisfaction. But nothing compares until you see the car on the road and then even more so get behind the wheel.
Coming up, Rolls-Royce celebrates its centennial with the 100EX.
After riding around with Merrick in the Phantom, all of the history and prestige really came to life. But Merrick wasn't done yet. He showed us another design that's leading Rolls-Royce in a new, sportier direction.
The year 2004 marks the 100-year anniversary of the Mark. So it was very important to have a product that is produced in order to commemorate this wonderful occasion. And as such, we chose to do a car we called 100EX. 100 actually stands for the 100 years of the Mark, and EX for the fact that it is an experimental car. Being much more sporting in character in comparison to the Phantom, you will see that the lines on the 100EX are much more exaggerated, they hold more drama. So it was important that the car comes across as being stablemate to the Phantom, another product that is very much in line with the philosophy of the company, but in a much more dramatic, a lot more emotional level. It is very much a social motor car. The experience is shared with the passengers, not only for the driver, which is very much the case with some of the other exotic sports cars. You will also notice the use of bleached teak, such as on the decking of the motor yachts as well. It is used not only on the floor inside the motor car, but also in some of the trim covering the soft top cover.
The size and structure of the car allow it to have a smooth ride without compromising performance.
There's a tremendous sense of engineering feat behind the cars, the Phantom and the 100EX. And it's a shared sense of exhilaration when you are behind the wheel of the car. The cars may look rather significant in terms of their size, but that size actually goes away once you are behind the wheel. It's an incredible experience of the nimbleness that can come across throughout the suspension and the power that the engine has. The dramatic proportions are accentuated by the size of the wheel and tire combination. They are necessary not only for the sake of proportion, but also for the sake of a very comfortable ride that is associated with Rolls Royce.
Another special accent on the wheels is the non-rotating emblem. Even when the car is in motion, the double R's remain upright.
The important part of the job of designing Rolls Royces is keeping focus on designing the cars in such a way that you communicate all the values of the mark in an ultra-modern way. It's a company of a great deal of tradition. However, that tradition needs to evolve into the future, and therefore the task at hand is to always remain relevant and in context with today's world, society, and the tastes.
Merrick's designs of the Rolls Royce Phantom and 100EX have captured the essence of the automaker. By introducing a modern aesthetic and keeping the historical elements, he's maintaining a ride that's fit for royalty.
Next, explore the ocean floor with deep flight submersibles. The iDesign book of the week is Pools, Good Ideas, featuring photography by Para Panels. The pages are dripping with aquatic designs from around the world. From the warm and hazy serenity of a Moroccan-themed indoor pool, where light and shadow play off the surface, to an Ibiza oasis that seamlessly blends with the natural landscape, or the bold architectural geometry of an outdoor pool in France. We see the various ways bodies of water can define space, from the formal symmetry of a traditional water garden to the dramatic use of light and color in modern designs. If you want to make a splash in your own backyard or have a quick, tranquil getaway, take the plunge into pools.
The good life is all about having a unique experience, doing things you've never done before. Adventure seeker Graham Hawkes of Deep Flight Submersibles is fascinated with the mysteries of the ocean floor, and he's building underwater flying machines so the rest of us can share the wonder.
Nobody realizes, but we live on an ocean planet. 94% of life on Earth is in the oceans. It's this huge three-dimensional space, much bigger than all the land value put together. And really over the years I've just become actually much more interested in exploring and building machines to go down. This is the unknown surface of a planet. So you're looking at strange geology, there's odd animals crawling around. And it's very peaceful, it's very tranquil. It's really enjoyable, I always get very calm. Down in the ocean, deep ocean, it's a very beautiful place.
Deep Flight Submersibles.
I really wanted to build airplanes when I was a boy, but I got sidetracked into doing defense stuff. A lot of us engineers would just bemoan the fact that we weren't born at the turn of the century when we could build an airplane in ourselves in our backyards and go and fly further and faster than anybody else. But underwater vehicles is a neglected area. I mean, it really is a field where one individual can make a difference. If you look at the previous subs I built and all existing ones, they behave underwater like blows. I mean, you have to make them heavy and they sink. That's how they get down. They just literally sink. What we're doing is making the transition to flight. I mean, literally flight. It looks like an airplane, it feels like an airplane, it smells like an airplane, but I mean, the controls is exactly like an airplane.
Submerging to the ocean floor sounds like a confining experience, but flying around underwater is a concept I never imagined. And who better to show us the ropes than the guy who dreamed up the idea?
This is Deep Flight 1. This is the first experimental craft that experimented with underwater flight. That dive probably lasted 4 or 5 hours. I mean, my goal wasn't to set a record. I was supposed to be testing the sub, but you know, your mind wanders outside and you get interested in some little critter, so you lift the sub up